what I always hear when I talk to people who are doing really well is like, oh, and then I saw this opportunity, and then I saw this. So how have you made decisions about how to grow your business and looking really at when you were like, I should grow this, or I should grow this, or like, how have you made those decisions? Like when you think about growing your business and expanding it, or maybe sometimes shrinking it in order to grow it?
Well, originally it started as me just doing photography. So the first step of growth was bringing in second shooters because people were asking for it. So that was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that came on board. And then I started seeing photo booths were crazy popular or getting there. And so I built a photo booth and we started doing that. And then I started realizing, we're bringing these clients in, we're paying to get them in front of us basically by advertising and all that. And the other service that goes hand in hand with photo is cinema. So let's get that skill set on board and start to cross-sell those services and kind of maximize our ROI on our marketing. And so right from there, we just went from photo to photo, cinema, and photo booth. We dabbled in event planning because on the same thought process, it was like, well, maybe we can even wrap all this stuff up into event planning. We backed off that for various reasons and got rid of that. And then we just added uplighting because, again, it was like we're already getting clients in front of us. And we realized that the more stuff we added, the more appropriate stuff that we added, the more people were happy with being able to deal with one vendor for multiple things. I'm sure you guys see that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much simpler for them. So not only is it good for us because of obvious reasons, but we're value add for them because we're simplifying their whole wedding planning process. But then as far as the commercial stuff, then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're like, well, we can produce videos, we can take photos, we can do all this stuff. How can we leverage all that in other areas, our skill sets and our equipment? It's all the same overlap. So how else can we use these things to service other types of segments and stuff?
Why do you think so many creative professionals seem to not want to work as much as possible?
I find most creatives love the actual, whether it be taking photos or taking videos, and they hate the business stuff and they don't like all the other associated things that go along with it. And unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you are, the reality is it's 80% running a business and 20% maybe doing the actual task. So
yeah,
I find a lot of people are in the camp of loving the task and not the business, whereas
Yeah.
I tend to be reverse.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say what I've seen is people don't. I think it's normal and rational to want to get an ego boost from doing well. I don't think that's bad. I think it's great. Like if you do well, when I look at my business, I feel good, right? I'm like, oh wow, we've done a good job, and like we're gonna hopefully continue to do that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's an art to your business and a creative outflow to that as well. And they only look at what did I do on set, or what did I do at a wedding, or how did I edit this? And I'm like, they get a lot of ego from that. They feel a confidence boost from that, but they haven't taken the time. And so hopefully if you're listening to this, like you'll realize like there's an art form to your business. There's an art form to growing your business. And I think that's really what I think Matt has done really well. Hopefully what we've done well. Like every year, like you kind of walked it through really quick. Like, oh, I looked at this, but then I was like, no, this doesn't work. But then I looked at this. Like it's creative problem solving.
Right.
Like you walk through these things, you're constantly creating something. Sometimes you're deconstructing it, but you're always trying to push the thing forward and create a new thing. And so let's talk about customers a little bit. I loved how when you talked about growing your business, it was all about what does a customer want, right? And so how important has it, like, what have you learned the most over the years in terms of dealing with customers, especially when you're, I don't like this term because I think people use it as like a demeaning term, volume brand. I think we would both consider our brands, I guess, we'd probably fall in that camp, right? We want to do a good volume. I think we have quality products, by the way.
Well, I think volume brand gets a bad name because a lot of volume brands the quality of the product and the service suffers because of the volume.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a way you can do both.
Yes.
Have volume and quality.
And that's important
just
to
be
us.
clear.
And I'm sure that's important to you. So let's talk about customers a little bit. And you've talked a lot about being really customer focused in how you make decisions to grow your business. What have you learned about getting like really customer feedback, whether it be in sales or post, or how does that fit into your brand and your growth and just what you guys do over there?
So you're asking like how we collect data or what we
Sure,
look
and
at?
also even what do you consider? Because I know some customer feedback we get, we're like, I'm not going to build a business around that. But other times we're like, yeah.
Right. Well, one benefit of a volume business is that you're not making decisions off of a small data set. So you have a lot of customers to get feedback from, and you can weed out the outliers and not make crazy decisions off of just like one person who had a bad day or whatever it might have been. So that's one thing. We send out surveys to our clients afterwards just to see how their experience was, what their favorite part of the day with us was, what maybe their least favorite was if they had one. So when we aggregate that data, then we can start to see if there's any trends or anything like that. So that's been a helpful tool. I mean, obviously there's online reviews, but I feel like you get more honesty when people can send you a responses to a straight survey.
Online reviews are great because to me, an online review is advertising. It's not really feedback.
Right. It's not as constructive as you get if you ask people directly, like, hey, was there something you didn't like?
Yeah,
what could have been better?
A person could love you, but like really love you, think you're awesome, personally like you, and not want to embarrass you publicly.
Right.
But they actually were frustrated how long it took you to get back on the emails.
Right.
And they're not going to tell the not that. They might tell you personally if you ask them. So I would say if you're a person running a wedding business and you don't ask your customers for feedback, that's a bad thing. You should do that.
It's definitely an area that we can get better at.
Sure.
I would say. I would say and as a creative who wants to be, even though we're very business oriented, I still get a lot of, positive feedback and almost in your identity as this creative, like, oh man, this was a good experience for them. Our art was great. Like, I want to ask the people like that I know will give us good feedback, to fill out a review, as opposed to the people that I'm like, I don't know about this person. Like, they didn't like that I took 2 days to get back to them on an email. And so, yeah, I tend to lean towards just asking people for feedback that I know will give me positive feedback as opposed to negative, which kind of defeats the purpose. But I know it's something that I can get better at.